Okay, so what am I doing now? Starting. Oh, hello. So I was thinking about when I first started teaching, and there was a bumper sticker on a file cabinet. And the bumper sticker said, "Kids count." And I remember thinking, I certainly hope so by the time they get to high school. And that just kind of kept ringing in my head. And it kind of fast forwarded into a philosophy that I'm just calling iSchool right now. So, iSchool. This is my teacher in service because I am in service to you. Kids only, please. You know, when I was teaching, I would have students all the time say, "Miss Newsom, your class is different." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean my class is different?" And they'd say, "It just is." And I thought, well, what do other people talk about? And I think that's kind of the crux of my in-service, my teacher-student imaginary school in-services today, which is, I'm just going to kind of try to talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I have a guest here, an invisible guest, because I needed somebody with skin to talk to. So I'll just pull any rando off the street to pretend my iSchool. So what I would like to explain to somebody, are you looking at, hey? What I would like to explain is, in educators, at least back in my day, Maslow's hierarchy of needs was like the quintessential foundation for teaching. And what it said was, here you have basic needs. I know you can't see it because there's a glare, but I'm going to try to explain it twice. Basic needs, which is just food, water, shelter, safety. And then you go on to relationships, etc. Yeah? Okay. Well, and these are the basic needs just to function. And I've been interviewing kids. Should I play it now, you think? I've been interviewing kids in my travels in the last 4 years, and I just listen to kids. And I think about so many demands that are placed on kids right now. And the list is pretty long, right? Yeah. And yet when I ask kids what they need, relief, basic needs. And I think, what's so hard about that? What is so hard about getting kids basic needs? And so I thought, well, if that's the problem, I've got your answers. I'm your solution right here, iSchool, because it is different. It's like, what do you talk about? And then I started thinking, I've been kind of bubbled in my own little world here, in my imaginary world. But when I get out there and start talking to people or actually listening to people, I understand your worries. There's nothing else to talk about. We keep talking about the same old stuff. Tomorrow's, I guess, some kind of election. I mean, I keep up on it because I think that, well, it's part of our world. But I think what I also realized was that, I don't know if you can see this, that essentially if you can just picture a triangle, I thought what I object to more than anything else is the shape of the triangle. The bottom here is your basic needs. That should be the easiest thing that we should be doing and working on right now. And then they come up to self-actualization at the top as though that's the pinnacle, as though it ends. Right? And isn't that how grading goes too? You walk into a classroom and you start off at 100%. You have nowhere else to go but down. And so really I object to the shape of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What I think it should be is the opposite, which is the simplest things are at the bottom. Once you get your basic needs met, I mean, seriously, if you don't have water or food or shelter, or you feel safe, how can you begin to configure trigonometry? And yet those are the expectations on you. And I'm thinking the only thing kids have asked for is so functionally simple. It's just, how do we function? And so, I don't know, this isn't that hard. It's just a triangle. Here's 100% up here. Oh yeah, you can't see that. That's okay. This is 100%, you have nowhere else to go but down. But once your basic needs are met, you have nowhere else to go but up. So in iSchool, the only thing that I'm suggesting is the conversations just kind of stay here in this little black hole. So simple solutions, simple solutions are, in order to function, I have T squared, which is time and talk. It's what we talk about on a daily basis, our conversations. We can't even get close to self-actualization because we keep talking about the same things over and over and over again, right? You want to get out of the box. People even use get out of the box. But what does that mean? So what you're talking about on a daily basis is how you're functioning. So F talk minus what you talk about, which from what students say, when I ask them, what do you talk about? Well, nothing really. Well, TikTok, this is, like, where do you think this time is going to go? And is it going to be positive or negative? I just realized after kind of stepping outside of this little bubble, like I said, of creating iWorld, I just realized there's nothing else to talk about because people don't know. I'm kind of foreign. I'm having a hard time conversing with people in the, well, adults in the outside world, and I figured out why. It's because our conversations reach a certain level. We can't talk about anything else because our basic needs aren't being met. That's what we talk about. And yet in iSchool, in my own imaginary world, you start at the basics. And I know it sounds maybe trivial, but when I think kids count, let's just start at the simplest thing we possibly can. Just count to 10. Just count to 10. Now, after you count to 10, we can realize that really I brought down the whole education system into two simple things. The education system teaches math and language, numbers, and our stories. So what we do with our time is our numbers. Reading, writing, and arithmetic, well, 2 out of those 3 are really our storytelling. And so in iSchool, I'm just going to do the same old thing. I'm just mirroring the educational system. I'm just going to be talking about numbers, which is numbers, dates, calendars, easy, simple stuff, and storytelling. So we're just going to revisit some simple stories that you're familiar with, but you may be altered in. So if I need to recap, I put free will on the top of this little piece of paper here. That's better. And what I realized is if this is the triangle, we only talk about 2 things. School, or our jobs, because that's what you're going to school for, right? Or we talk about what we look at on our screens. Here in iSchool, you can look at your screens all you want. You just might want to ask what conversations are being controlled. Not only are you talking about school all the time, in school, outside of school, then you're talking about the escape from school, which then you just talk about screens, and it's this oppressive, it's more of an oppressive system. So, okay, how'd I do? How am I doing? iSchool is just an escape, and it's kind of an imaginary escape. You know, what good are brain breaks when somebody's telling you when to have a brain break? It kind of defeats the purpose. So here in iSchool, you can have brain breaks whenever you want because we're going to just count to 10. If you can count to 10, then start coming up with lists of 10. Why should you do this? Number 1, it's free. It's easy. It's a wholesome escape. And with practice, it will shut out the noise of what I call the tyranny of talk, where people are talking over you. And ask not what the conversations are, but maybe start thinking about what conversations are you missing out on besides school and what's on the screens. Conversations could lead to better conversations. Like if you're waiting in line, which don't we do that all the time, waiting in line instead of just getting angry at the person in front of you or angry at the, because our supermarkets are well understaffed, and so you might have to wait a long time. Now, where was I? Okay, the power of 10. Kids count. Yes, you can. I certainly hope so. Kids count, and so count to 10. If nothing else, again, just to take a breath, to breathe into 5, and then I love that empty space when you take a breath where it's kind of an emptiness. And then when I count out 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, very slowly, like in my head, and then I just like that space at the end. So like that would be the baseline if you need some help. And then you can just keep adding what meaning you might have to this power of 10, which is coming up with this 10 list. First, just breathe. And then maybe start thinking of other things. So I came up with a list of just 10 things, if you just want to today, just to escape the madness. Take 10 breaths, pause. Come up with 10 cartoon characters. 10 colors other than the basics. 10 songs with, and then you can fill in whatever exponent you want, seasons, colors, body part, I don't know. 10 nostalgic foods, 10 composers, 10 presidents off the top of your head. You know, just waiting in line, just, Wilson. I don't know. Presidents, curse words. This might be for, high school audience. Come up with 10 curse words and ask yourself, what's the meaning behind them? Is that too anyway? Superheroes. How about bones in your body? Whatever you look around, you can find something to do any time of the day, absolutely anywhere, anytime. Which is, high school is not for everybody. I'm not for everybody, but I'm for anybody that just wants an escape from the kind of the madness of education. So I came up with this: if you want change, just change the subject. Do you want me to say that again? If you want change the subject. And I challenge you to try. That's really where I came up with this kind of epiphany of mine. I could not get people to talk outside of their jobs, school, and usually negative, or what they saw on TV or the screens. And I'm the same way. I'm not trying to, there's no high mighty here. Remember the last video? I know I'm not smart. So questions to you. I have a lot of ideas, but how much of I do you think you can take? Again, I'm not for everybody, but for anybody. But the one thing to leave with today is to think about, I guess I was thinking about faculty meetings, and I just have these 2 arrows here, which is, I feel like if you reverse those, we spend so much time walking in, having conversations, talking, having coffee, and then there's just very little time, I feel like, to have time to dedicate to kids. And then there's a lot of meetings and other stuff that never really seem to matter to me. And so in high school, if I were to reverse that, I would say, no chit chat. Let's just get right into it. We're gonna spend the bulk of the time, not wasted time. Now, before I go, I'll just say, there's so much wasted time opportunity that I think any student could take advantage of. As a teacher, I didn't really, I'm kind of a slow learner. I didn't catch up with this until later. But when we were having mandatory testing, we couldn't have screens, nothing. It's just this void. And so what I did in the first few years was I wrote my own activity book. And I'm not showing you this to be like, ooh, look at what I can do. It's more like, this is what I did with my time. Instead of grading papers, instead of complaining, I would walk into meetings and I would just, it seems like a lot right now, but it was just every day, every moment that I could take, I wanted to learn. I wanted to really be a lifelong learner. So, it's really simple. Listen to your conversations, whatever level you're at. Just listen to what you say. Is this really what you want to talk about? And I really piss people off when I ask that question. Like, is this really what you want to talk about? Do you really want to gossip right now? Is this because I feel like my time is pretty precious, and so I guess just some thoughts to think about for now, and I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. So ciao for now. It really is hard to figure out where to start with me, so I just wrote some things down. I'm just gonna ramble. I have Tyranny of Talk, October 31st, 2024. In the Meantimes. Now, I think In the Meantimes is a great way to describe iSchool, because I feel like we're kind of mean. So, in the meantime, let's think about something else. And so I will follow my script. Living the dream. Okay, that really bugs me. When I hear people say, I'm living the dream, because I literally am living my dream. I study my dreams. And I take lessons from them, and I follow them because we probably have dreams for a reason. So I listen to that. Anyway, okay, I'm going to stick to the script. I'm ready. And when I say I'm ready, I mean I'm ready. I have a mug that was on my mantle a little bit ago, and Red was my nickname. And so family, people close to me call me Reddy. Or, okay, actually one person called me Reddy, and that was my dad. And so the quote was, ready, 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 Roddy. And so it was just like this back and forth thing. So when I say I'm ready, I mean, I'm like, that's my name. So simple. Back to the script. I don't want to speak for kids, and especially not all kids. However, and then I have a question mark, interviews. In my travels, at least just the last 4 years before iSchool gets ready, I thought, if you want to start a school, why don't you listen to what kids want, right? So here's an example. First of all, I when I run into kids in travels, I don't seek them out or anything, but in this case we were at Orcas Island and camping. I never take their names. I need to be very ethical about this. But I just like listening to their stories, so I ask for their permission or if there's a counselor or something. So here's an example of a conversation.
But I feel like the curriculum almost takes us away from what our needs really are.
Yeah. Yeah, but then they're like, what do you want? And then they're like,
we'll tell you what you want.
like they're just like, here's what would probably be best for you, but you can still just be like, fuck what's best for me. I want to do all the elective credit. You've already done all your elective credit. Elective credit.
Tell me your top 5 last electives that you took, that you enjoyed. You said you had fishing?
Oh, fishing was
a classic.
What did you like, though? I'm sorry.
I completed literally all of my credit many times over for CT credit, and I'm still doing culinary.
Oh, yeah, the culinary program. Yeah, amazing here.
Oh, so you cook.
Yeah.
We got...
The food is amazing.
We have gotten multiple awards.
To graduate.
Embarrassing on my part. But it just started off with literally kid fishing.
They're on the smaller. This is like the small tide bass.
How do you know it's a bat? Oh, because of the mouth? Oh, look at that.
And it's impressive. These things, they can live up to like 3 minutes out of water. But yeah, he ate the entire bait. Wow.
Anyway, I've got a lot of dialogue on that. So I did put, send me your emails or your hate mail if you want. No, why did I say that? I don't know, because we're kind of in the mean times, right? I just want you to know that no matter what, I'm on your side, students. Day before the election, I'm just thinking, it's a lose-lose. I want no political affiliation whatsoever. In fact, I think it's kind of interesting that, my old lady wisdom, I've been through, I think I counted 11 presidential elections. And my point on that is, preferably, you're going to wake up Wednesday morning. Life goes on. But in which direction? And that's kind of where I come in. So back to the script. I am listening to you students. I am at your service. It seems like lip service right now, but I started this project 4 years ago and I'm more committed than ever. In fact, iSchool just completely consumed my life, and it's so wonderful. I want any of this goodness. I wish I could share it. I wish I did have a little magic wand for you. So, okay, when asked what do you want, this is what I wrote down. Some of this gets angry. I'm listening. When asked what do you want, relief, sleep, time to be a kid. How simple is that? Can you not do your job? See the angry Ingrid. Food, water, and safety. It just seems like that is the simplest thing that could be happening right now. And then what's most frustrating to me is when I try to address the simplest of things, the conversation changes. And that's where I got really interested. And it actually elevated me into me talking to you here in my bedroom, because I push the limits of pretty much most people that I talk to, because I push and push. Because it is so simple. And then I started thinking, okay, if the problem is that simple, it's obviously nobody's coming to help you. You can do this yourself, and you might as well anyway, because it's just going to strengthen you. Starting very simply, step by step, one by one. You've got this. It's so, how to escape the tyranny of talk. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And again, with practice, I think iSchool is a great way to just, people could just yap and yap and yap, but you might be thinking about Pink Pony Girl. It's like just an escape, and it's okay. You have permission to do that. Okay, and there are two problems with how functionally simple this is. No one asks you, and no one seems to be listening. And I feel like I make adults mad, but it's like, well, why are you mad? Are you mad because, well, anyway, it's so simple, and I have got this for you guys, students. This is so easy. There's no worries. In my moments of silence, I realized how simple it is. What if time is the weapon of choice? Time itself, time and the stories we tell. And then I came up with the 10 and 10 plan in the last few years. So we're going to talk about time and stories. What do you do with your time? Is that cutting? Should I not do that? The worst thing you can do to a bad habit is to become indifferent to it. Ignore it. And that's where I think the number 5 silence will come in handy, just as a trick. It is really weird when you go silent on people, especially women and children. Kids, when you go quiet, it's like there's what's wrong. And so what I think about iSchool is that it can fill that void. I feel like taking phones away, in my opinion, makes you sneakier. It's like, that's what you're going to think about. How can I manipulate the system? That's what I saw kids do. That's what I would do. But you take phones away, and that makes it all the more alluring, I would think. And so, again, iSchool isn't about use your phone, don't use your phone. It's just knowing that you're being manipulated, I think, by both an institution and the same people who are partnered up with weapons of mass distraction, that's all we talk about. Okay, I was thinking about this. I think for 10 years I was teaching in a lot of us watch The Office, and I started really thinking about that. Like, we watch shows about an office, and then we go back to work and we talk about what we watched on The Office. And then I read interviews about people who were actors on The Office, and they pride themselves on the authenticity of being an office worker. It's like we talk about, it's all just distractions. I think, again, what we need is relief and time to heal, and you can't do that if you don't have time. Now, obviously, how do you get time? Baby steps. 5 times a day, wake up in the morning, think, what can I do for myself today? If you want my voice in your head, just nurture, what can you do for yourself today? The worst thing you can do to a bad habit is become indifferent to it, ignore it, go silent. I mean, we talk about addictions. It's like we can't escape it. Sometimes when I have conversations, so many people will describe themselves as an acronym. I am ADHD. I am ADD. And it's sometimes it's hard to pull out what's beyond that. And that's what I'm really interested in, is like, you're not your label. And so addictions, it's like, I drink, don't drink, smoke, don't smoke, do drugs, don't do drugs. But to become indifferent to all of that, it's like, I just don't care, because I have something else to focus on. And that's what I want for you. Who owns your time? Who spends your time? These are games. That's where the Oracle comes in. It's like, okay, well, what if you thought I did know everything? What would you ask me? I mean, I am really the perfect candidate. I'm a middle-aged woman. I'm pretty much invisible, and I stay at home and I research as much as I can. I learn because I want to be prepared for kids. That's my only focus, is helping kids. How functionally simple is that? Kids are hurting. I have time. I want to help. And yet I can't have conversations because nobody will talk to me. So I'm just going to keep throwing this out here. Where are we on the top? Oh, good. We're good. New political ad. Oh, here's my political ad. Unlike my opponents, I don't care what you have to say right now, because you are not telling the truth and you take up all my time. So I turned my phone off. Is that creepy? Or again, I'm still your, like, what do you need from me? I'll be what you want. You need, like, the crazy aunt that you just need an excuse. You know, when you have empty time, and it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do, Newsom? I've got my phone, and I'm talking about school. So what else? What? Stick to the script. Okay, my eye project 2025. It's lose-lose for kids. My opponents, I have a 10 for 10 plan. I've been living it for just 4 years, and I would like to pass it on to any kid that's out there. When I try to divert conversations to kids' help, I get shut down every single time. So I stop playing their game. I am comedically serious. Who is the system serving anyway? And I will continue my project because it's working. And that's another thing about the system. Why would it change? It's working. And so I don't think there's anybody going to rescue you. I would like to have better conversations about how to help you from the ground up. Stop waiting to be saved. Start the slow and fun process of building yourself up. Starting at 0. I love that. Oh, this is me, back to me. I know why I'm weird. Because I don't join in on other conversations. And I miss my students, and they saw something. It's simple things to... Oh, that's another thing. It's simple things. It does not take a lot. Now that I've been home, sometimes just a 10, 20-minute nap. And I thought, what I would have given at school to just have just 20 minutes of relief, that's not going to happen. So it's the simple things to self-soothe every day. So that's it. That's where we're going to have fun. We're going to start doing that for yourself. And that's what's beautiful about it, because you can do it anytime, any place. If you are smart, this is what I wrote down, start slow, keep it to yourself. Start with you intrinsically. I put in Pythagoras solvers. I read an article about these two high school girls who solved the impossible. Yeah, so where's your thoughts going right now? Lighting, hair, superficial things. Okay, then we're going to pause right here. Let's just go back to those three little pigs. I still haven't finished that. It's like a magic trick, which is exactly what's happening in our conversations. It's a sleight of hand. It's like, don't look here, look over there. It's a constant diversion from what? Yeah, I'm just going to keep rambling because I've got good stuff for next year. Oh, no. Let's remember, keep it low. If you have a talent, keep it down. Keep it to yourself. Because it usually gets exploited. Oh, I'm just having so much fun. Honestly, can you see where I'm going yet? You have to be kind of cryptic. You don't want to let too many people know, but when you start to see through the advertising, the conversations, 20 years ago it was Coke v. Pepsi. Well, while Coke and Pepsi were putting money into campaign ads to get us to argue about Coke and Pepsi, they were merging. Fast food, music industry, all owned. And so, do you really only have two choices? That seems kind of manipulative. We're going to create chaos. So, how many cereals do you have to choose from? That is part of the algorithm. You create chaos, and then you give this illusion of choice that it's only between two different philosophies while these people are while these companies are merging. While we're talking about politics, if you like Project 2025, it's well underway. If you don't, it's well underway. Either way, it's happening. If you go to the NAEP, the educational website, the evidence is there. Just in the last 2 years, the NAEP has changed the standards for education, specifically learning English and reading, has been changed significantly. Do with that what you may. And then with that, that's where iSchool comes in. If you're frustrated, if it's like, well, what do I do? Right. That's where I come in. You start at zero. And it's the intrinsic learning. So way back in 2020, it's like I just started with very simple things. And once you get these ideas, once you go through 1 through 10, you start to absorb it. You create a playlist. Senses, a sense of order of your day that you create. Days of the week, I have colors for days of the week because it gives me a sense of control. And again, that's what I want for you. I honestly do not care about politics right now. It's all, I have no invested interest because I want to be a better teacher. And in order to be a better teacher, I just want to get closer to a truth. And so what I recommend, it's in the storytelling, it's in the calendars, it's in the numbers themselves. The occupation of your time is the thing. And we just want to create good memories. That's all we do in high school. We just tell stories. We just take some time out, tell some stories. That's what we're going to do next year. No big whoop. And in those stories, we'll unfold things that might be closer to the origin. By the way, I would love it if somebody did any of those 10 things, like 10 scientists, cereal boxes, because again, it's an escape as well as a building block to other higher level conversations. Thinking about you.